This video is brought to you by Liberty Blanket Company. Recently, we received a thank you note from one of our customers. She said, "Warm and dry in our Liberty blanket at the Real Salt Lake game. Thanks." So what makes the Liberty blanket unique compared to other outdoor blankets? Well, in addition to being water resistant and quite warm, it has a unique foot box and corner clips that help keep the blanket in place even in nasty, windy weather. When you're done with it, it rolls up into its own pocket for easy storage. If you like spending time outdoors and you like being warm and comfortable while doing it, you should check out the Liberty Blanket. Go to libertyblanketco.com. On checkout, type in code G30TV and receive 30% off your own order. Okay, let's get to the ski review. Alright, in this video I'm going to do a quick review of the Icelantic Nomad Lite 105. And this ski is a ski that I just got this year. I've skied it about 10 times. I've skied it previously at ski demos. I've also, our shop used to demo Icelantic skis, so I've used some of those demos a little bit. So I have some familiarity with the Nomad 105. This is the first time I've skied the Nomad 105 Lite. So I've had about 10 days on it so far this winter. I waited till partway through the winter to mount these because I wanted to make sure there was a solid base before I took them out. But now I've skied it in deep powder, I've skied it on, dust on crust, or even like 4 or 5 inches on crust. I've skied it on crappy, chewed up, boilerplate ice. The only condition that I can think of that I haven't skied it on is on groomers at a resort, and skied it fast on groomers at a resort. I know how the Nomad 105 skis in those conditions, but I haven't skied this one in those conditions, so I can't really speak to that. But in this review, I'm going to talk about it as a backcountry ski, because that's how I've used it. So I've mounted this up with the Dynafit Rotation ST10. It has brakes. I prefer backcountry bindings without brakes generally, but I figured that this ski of all of my skis would probably be the one that I would choose to ski at a resort, and so I wanted brakes on there for that reason. But other than that, I would have gone with a lighter binding. The ski itself, if I pull this other one here, if you look at the camber, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It doesn't have a lot of camber. It has a little bit. It's not flat ski. It's not a reverse camber ski, but it doesn't have a lot of camber. So not super lively ski. And also it has a pretty short effective edge. Essentially my hands there are at where the effective edge begins and ends. So that means is when you put it on edge, that's the part of the edge that's actually touching the ground. If you're on a groomer, this would ski like a really short ski because it has such a big tip and tail rocker and the effective edge is so short. So it does ski like a short ski. That's nice because makes for a little bit easier turn initiation at low speeds. Also makes for a pretty playful ski in powder. Doesn't make for as stable of a ski at speed on hardpack, but as you'll see in a video clip that I'll put in here, it actually does make for a pretty fun, fast ski when you're in dust on crust conditions or more than dust on crust. We had about 4 inches of soft snow on top of crust in this video, and so it was really fun. It was fast. It carved well. It handled well. So anyway, good for that. I've been impressed with the torsional rigidity of this ski. So with a lot of skis, when you put, especially a wider ski, when you put it on edge, the ski wants to flex, kind of twist torsionally, and then it doesn't hold as firm of an edge. I have found that this ski is actually quite torsionally rigid for its size in my experience. Now again, I haven't had it on hard groomers going fast, so I might change my mind in those conditions. But on the ice that I have skied, I've been surprised. It actually, held an edge pretty well. It didn't feel too soft. So that's impressive for a backcountry ski. With that said, this being a backcountry ski, it's one of the heavier backcountry skis for its size. There are lighter options out there, but it skis really well for what it is and for the weight it is. All right, I want to take a moment to go into more detail about the weight of this ski. This is a hefty ski. This is Icelantic's lighter version of the Nomad 105 for backcountry use, but it's not traditionally a backcountry ski, not as far as the weight goes. So let's take a look at the weight chart here. So for this ski in a 191, 4,332 grams. That is heavy. That is almost 2,200 grams per ski. That is about, anywhere from 500 to 700 grams heavier than some of its competition in the 105 millimeter waist category. That's heavy. What's interesting is if you look at the light, 4,332 grams versus the normal Nomad, 4,481 grams. That's only about 150 grams heavier. They're essentially the same ski. Now, if you look at what makes the slight weight difference, the traditional Nomad uses a poplar wood core. The Nomad Lite uses what they call a featherweight wood core. Everything else is exactly the same. So the durability is going to be the same. The dampness is going to be very similar. Really, you save 150 grams, which is almost nothing. 150 grams because of this one different wood that they use. Now, I'm not trying to criticize Icelantic. I love the ski, and I'll take 150 gram weight savings, sure. But I guess what I'm saying is, if you like the ski or you want to ski it, and you find a really good deal on a Nomad 105, but the Nomad Lite you can't seem to find as good a deal on, just get the Nomad. They're essentially the same ski. All right, so let's compare this to some of the other popular skis on the market in this size. So like the Blizzard 0G. If you look at the 0G in 180 centimeter length, which is a little shorter than what I've got here in the Icelantic, but it's about 1,540 grams. So in like a 188, I'm guessing it's probably closer to like 1,600 grams, 1,650, something like that. But still, quite a bit heavier, 600, 700 grams heavier, somewhere around there. That's like 1.5 pounds per foot. So that's significant. I want to compare this real quick to a ski that I used to own, that the Dynafit Waskeron. It was 115 underfoot, and if you look at the dimensions here, 135 at the tip, 115 at the waist, 124 at the tail. It was a fun ski. It was a good ski, but it was 1,843 grams in, I don't know what length that was here. It was essentially under 1,900 grams for the length that I had, which was like a 190 or somewhere around there. So it was still like 400 grams lighter and 10 millimeters wider at the waist. One thing that you should know or consider, this Huascaran is 135 at the tip. The Nomad Lite is 140 at the tip. The Huascaran is 124 at the tail. The Nomad is 130 at the tail. So even though this Huascaran is 10 millimeters wider at the waist, essentially it's got about the same footprint as the Nomad Lite. Now back probably 8 or 9 years ago when I had the Huascaran, I also had the Dynafit Choyu, which I still have a pair of those for ski mountaineering. But I really enjoyed the Huascaran, and I skied it a lot. I thought it was a great ski. But I found myself more and more going for the Choyu for the weight savings, to have a real fast and light ski. And it was interesting, except in the on the most powdery days, I would prefer to ski the Choyu. Now, the Choyu does not ski nearly as well as the Huascaran did, but the Huascaran wasn't so fun that I just had to ski it. I often would not ski it to take a lighter ski. I'm completely flipped with the Nomad Lite. The Nomad Lite is so fun to ski for me that I often am looking for excuses to take it over a light ski because I enjoy skiing it so much. Yes, I do hike slower on the uphill, but the downhill is so much more fun. So that means something. I am finding myself more and more looking at the Icelantics first over my other skis. And I didn't think that would be the case. I thought this would be like a powder day only ski for me. And I'm finding it's like my everyday ski. And then I'm, occasionally picking my other skis if I have an objective that requires something really, really light. So take that for what it's worth. It is a heavy ski compared to some of the lighter weight options, but it's a bigger ski. It has a big footprint. It also is really fun. And for me, it has become my favorite ski of all of my skis by a pretty decent margin. I'll say the flex of this is soft for the most part. It's pretty forgiving. And I would say through the body of the ski, it's not super soft, but it does have a fairly soft shovel. The tail is the part that I find really soft, and that's a little annoying to me. Not having a soft tail, but how soft this tail is. I've washed out or almost washed out a couple of times because I was expecting the tail to be a little bit firmer. Get a little bit in the back seat in a couple of situations, and that tail didn't provide a lot of support, and it would wash out. And in one case, in this clip here that I'm showing you, I actually ate it. I wasn't going real fast, but I got in the back seat and those tails just folded, and I just, ate it on my hip back over the back end of my skis. So I actually don't love how soft this tail is. It is, I don't know if you can see on the camera how I've got it set up, but it's pretty soft. Through the body of the ski, it's not too bad. It's not crazy soft. It's actually through the body of the ski, it's not super stiff, but it's a little bit stiffer than I would have expected based off of how it skied. To me, it felt like it skied like a softer ski than what this is. But all in all, I'll say that it's a very forgiving ski, particularly when you're skiing at slightly slower speeds. And it's also a very playful ski, especially in powder. It turns eagerly, especially with that big rocker in the tip and tail. It skis like a short ski, so making quick, short turns is easy and fun, but also it was surprisingly stable at high speeds in the couple of situations where I started railing down. When conditions were right for it and I could really pick up the pace, it was a pretty stable ski at high speed, with a couple of exceptions where I hit some crud or I get a little off balance and get in the back seat. Then those tails would wash out, and I just feel like the tail's a little softer than I would prefer. I probably could fix that by just tightening my boots a little bit and not getting in the back seat. But anyway, so overall, would I recommend this ski to a backcountry skier? I would, with the understanding that it's a heavier ski, for a backcountry ski anyway. It's a heavier ski, and you have to want it for what it's good at. It's good at slower speed stuff. It's good at high speeds in good conditions, not crud, not ice conditions, but forgiving soft snow conditions. It's good at high speed, good at low speed for quick turns, great in the powder, really good in the powder. And it has a soft tail. And for me, my ski style is, when conditions allow it, I like to go fast. And it's maybe not the ideal ski for that, but I have had more fun on this ski than any of my other skis in the backcountry this year, by far. Part of that is because I think this is a heavier ski than all my other skis, and so it skis more damp. You feel a little more solid. The bumps and stuff that you ski through don't affect you as much when you got a little bit more weight on your feet. So there's part of that. But I've actually been surprised. It's a heavier ski, yes. And then because it's so wide, you put some skins on it. And I've got my skins over there in the backpack. You put some skins on it, and it's even heavier, obviously. But I've been surprised that I haven't noticed the weight as much as I thought I would in the backcountry. Hiking hasn't been too bad. I'm slower for sure, but it hasn't slowed me down as much as I thought. Instead of taking an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes to get up to the top of the mountain, I'm 10 minutes slower. And yeah, that's 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes of skiing, but it's not like 40 minutes where I could get another lap in, right? And so, and the downhill has been so fun. I would recommend this ski to people who understand what this ski is made for. Powder, soft snow, playful skiing, that sort of thing. I wouldn't recommend it to someone who, is ski mountaineering, for example. When you're skiing in variable conditions and really consequential terrain, I prefer something that has a little stiffer tail. The soft tail, to me, I just feel it wants to wash out a little bit more on real hard, steep terrain, and that is unnerving to me a little bit, mainly because I'm used to skis that don't have such a soft tail, and so I get on this and it feels different. But overall, I love the ski, and I look forward to skiing it every single day that I go out. I go out about 3 or 4 times a week, 3 or 4 mornings a week, and other than one day when we knew the snow was just going to be horrible, and I was out for the exercise and I wanted to save weight, I took my light skis. Other than that day, I prefer these skis just pretty much all the time. So it is a great ski. I've really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to people knowing, what you're getting. It's a powder ski. It's a playful ski. It's not a super high-speed railer, but it can. It can go pretty fast and be pretty fun and stable. So anyway, hope this was helpful. There are other skis on the market that are worth looking at. Outdoor Gear Labs, if you ever look at that website, they do great reviews. You can see what they recommend. I would put this up there with skiing with some of the best of those skis, as far as fun and on the downhill and stuff. There's just the weight penalty, and they're a little bit heavier than some of those lighter options. So that's the only downside. So I'd give it 4 out of 5 stars. Half a star lost for just being a little heavier, and half a star lost for me wishing that I had a little bit stiffer tails. Other than that, really, and for me, the soft tails, that's just going to be something that I have to get used to and learn to ski differently on. But for the type of skiing that I'm used to, it's something that's in the back of my mind that I think about. And generally, I like skis that I never have to think about. I can just go and have fun, and I don't worry about anything. This one, I do think about those tails in certain situations, and have to compensate for that in my skiing style. So anyway, that's the Icelantic 105. I'd recommend it, especially if you can find a good deal on one. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We'll have more gear reviews, more adventures, more of kind of everything coming out. We've got spring is right around the corner, summer's starting. We'll get into backpacking, we'll get into climbing, we'll get into mountain biking, trail running, those types of things as well. So please subscribe if you haven't already. And then, of course, our sponsor is Liberty Blanket Company. So go check out libertyblanketco.com. If you use the code G30TV, you can get 30% off your order. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode.